The propane heater roared against the January wind, leaking through the VFW hall door. Coffee hissed in the urn, cigarette smoke layering under the fluorescent buzz. Damp wool coats piled on the metal rack smelled of road salt and Old Spice. Cold folding chairs scraped linoleum as veterans and their wives turned to watch. Monica cornered me by the coat rack, champagne glass tilted, diamond earrings catching the light. 20 people could hear her, maybe more. "I slept with Travis last night," she said, smirking. "At the Riverside Center, thought you should know. Everyone else does." She laughed, pivoted to her friends, walked away, swaying her hips. The younger women from her yoga studio closed around her like a shield. I stood there, hand on my coat sleeve. Conversations died, eyes turned. I counted to 10. Old habit, engineer's discipline. Pulled on my coat and walked out into the snow without a word. 40 years I'd inspected dams for cracks. Never thought to check the foundation at home. The workshop thermometer read 28 degrees when I got there at 5 in the morning. Wood stove still had coals. I fed it kindling, blew on the embers until flames caught, then stood with my back to the heat, waiting for feeling to return to my fingers. The surveyor's level sat on the workbench where I'd left it 40 years ago, brass and precision, Lillian's initials engraved on the base, LC, the day we'd bought this place. I opened the logbook, turned to January 1st, wrote the date. Foundation stable, marriage failed. My hand didn't shake. That surprised me. Coffee grounds in the French press, water from the electric kettle, the smell of diesel fuel and motor oil, sawdust and old wood. This shop I understood. Stone walls I'd laid myself, pegboard with tools hung in order, everything measured and placed. My phone buzzed on the bench. Cassidy's name lit the screen. "Dad, what's happening?" I saw Monica's Instagram post. I stared at the text. 18 months since we'd spoken. 18 months since Monica had convinced me Cassidy needed space to process her grief. 18 months of blocked calls and deleted messages I hadn't known about. I didn't answer. Didn't know what to say yet. The wood stove ticked as metal expanded. Wind whistled through gaps in the barn siding. I drank my coffee black, watching dawn break gray over the property line, and thought about all the things I'd failed to measure. Pearl's kitchen smelled like Earl Grey tea and old paper. She sat at the oak desk, Lillian's childhood desk, the one her parents had given her when she turned 16, and spread the last 6 months of bank statements across the surface. Her mechanical pencil scratched as she made notes. Red ink corrections in the margins. Wall clock ticking on the mantel. Downstairs, the hardware store was opening, the bell on the door ringing as the first customer entered. "Tell me what you need," she said without looking up. "Numbers," and I wrapped my hands around the teacup she'd poured. Warm porcelain, smooth and thin. "Something's wrong. I need to know how wrong." Pearl was 71, Lillian's older sister. Same dark eyes, same careful way of thinking before speaking. She'd been a CPA for 40 years before retiring, IRS audit specialist. If there was fraud buried in those statements, she'd find it. "The homestead," I said. "I built it stone by stone, 40 years ago. For Lillian, it's Cassidy's inheritance. The only thing left of her mother." Pearl circled something on the December statement. Her pencil hovered. "This withdrawal, December 28th, $4,200, Tiffany and Company." She looked up. "Did you buy jewelry?" "No." "Christmas gift for Monica?" "No." She made another note, flipped back 3 months, circled another entry, then another. The sound of her breathing, the scratch of lead on paper, coffee brewing in the French press on her counter, the smell of wood polish and old books. "Ray," her voice was quiet. "How much don't you know?" I looked at the circles. September, October, November. Hotels, restaurants, cash withdrawals in round numbers. The pattern was there once you saw it, like water seepage in concrete, invisible until you know where to look. "Everything," I said. Pearl pulled a fresh ledger from her drawer, opened it to the first page, wrote my name at the top in her careful script. "Then we start measuring," she said. I went back to the VFW the next afternoon for the thermos I'd left. The hall smelled like floor cleaner and stale coffee. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Hank Mitchell sat at the corner table. 70 years old, Vietnam vet, 30 years my fishing partner. He saw me come in and stood up fast. "Ray." He caught my arm before I reached the kitchen. "We need to talk." Just getting my thermos." "Monica's telling people you're unstable." His voice dropped. "Says she's filing a restraining order for her safety." The words took a moment to land. I looked at him. His face was serious, worried. "She cornered me in front of 20 people to brag about sleeping with her ex-husband," I said. "Now I'm the unstable one?" "I know, but she's..." He glanced toward the door. "She's got people believing her, the younger wives, her yoga crowd. They're saying you're controlling, that the door opened. Judge Harold Finch came in, saw us, changed direction. Ray." He caught me at this coat rack, keeping his voice low. "Off the record, as your friend, not as a judge." And I waited. Monica was at the county clerk's office yesterday. Had a lawyer with her, filing something. His eyes were steady. Be careful. My phone buzzed. I pulled it out. Monica's Instagram story notification. The photo showed her face, makeup smeared, eyes red. The caption read, "Sometimes the bravest thing is walking away from toxicity. Healing begins now." Survivor strong. 437 likes. Comments scrolling. "You're so brave." "He doesn't deserve you. Proud of you for choosing yourself." I pocketed the phone, picked up my thermos from the counter. Neither Hank nor Judge Finch said anything as I walked out. The cold hit my face like a slap. Deacon Mills showed up at the workshop that evening with a manila folder. I heard his truck before I saw him. Diesel engine, familiar rattle. He'd been my apprentice 15 years ago, back when I still took on mentees. Taught him structural engineering before he switched to insurance investigation. "Ray?" He came in without knocking, closed the door behind him. "I need you to look at something. Professionally." I set down the wrench I was holding. "What is it?" He spread papers across my workbench. "Life insurance policy." My signature at the bottom, but the letters were shaky, uncertain, not my usual hand. "You remember signing this?" I looked at the date. 6 months ago, July. I'd had pneumonia in July, spent a week barely able to sit up. Vaguely. Monica brought me paperwork. Said it was a formality. Deacon's jaw tightened. He pulled out another page. Beneficiary designation. Monica's name, where Cassidy's used to be. $890,000, he said. "She changed it while you were sick." The workshop felt smaller suddenly, cold despite the wood stove. "That's not why I'm here." Deacon laid out 3 more documents, construction accident reports. "Look at these dates. September 15th, October 23rd, November 18th. These are all near your property. Loose scaffolding, faulty wiring, tools falling from heights." He tapped each report. "And here's the pattern." He pulled out his phone, showed me a spreadsheet. Monica's location data. He must have pulled it from somewhere official. Insurance investigation access. Every accident date matched a day Monica had been at the Riverside Center, where Travis had his construction office. "Ray, this isn't coincidence." Deacon's voice was quiet, certain. "This is a pattern. Every time she visits Travis, there's an accident on or near your property. They're setting something up." The wind picked up outside. Wood stove ticked. Smell of diesel and old coffee. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying your wife changed your life insurance beneficiary while you were too sick to read the fine print. I'm saying her ex-husband is a contractor who's been staging accidents near your land for 4 months. I'm saying..." Footsteps on the gravel outside. Heavy boots. Official. The knock was professional. Firm. I opened the door. Sheriff's deputy. Young guy I didn't recognize. He held out an envelope. "Raymond Collier?" "Yes." "You've been served." He handed me the papers. Restraining order. "You need to vacate the premises within 24 hours. Stay 500 feet away from Monica Collier at all times." He walked back to his patrol car. Engine started. Taillights disappeared down the drive. I looked at the papers in my hand. Official seal. Judge's signature, not Harold Finch, someone from the county seat. Deacon stood in the doorway, his face grim. "She's isolating you," he said. "This is textbook fraud setup. Get you out of your own house, make you look dangerous, establish a narrative." He paused. "Ray, if something happens to you before that insurance review date, if there's an accident," she walks away with $890,000, no questions asked. The papers felt heavy, cold, like holding proof of your own funeral arrangements. "I built this place for Lillian," I said. "Stone by stone, 40 years. I know. She's not taking it." Pearl's office was above the hardware store. Same building where Lillian used to work, summers as a teenager. Oak desk, metal file cabinets from the 60s, the smell of wood polish and old paper. Downstairs, someone was buying nails. The ping of the register. Muffled conversation. She had a file open when I arrived. Dust motes drifting in the window light. "When you remarried," she said, "I insisted on a prenuptial agreement. Do you remember?" I thought back. 5 years ago. Pearl had been firm about it. Protective of Lillian's memory, protective of the homestead. "Yes." She pulled a document from the file cabinet. Yellowed paper, official notary seal. "This is the original." I'd forgotten about it entirely. Monica had been irritated that day, said it was insulting, said she wasn't marrying me for money. Pearl had insisted. We'd gone to a lawyer's office in town. Monica had 3 glasses of wine at lunch first. Pearl read aloud, her finger tracing the text. Clause 7. In the event of proven infidelity, the non-offending spouse retains sole ownership of all property acquired prior to marriage, and the offending spouse shall reimburse all marital expenditures incurred during the affair period. She looked up. Her eyes were steady. Monica signed this. She was drunk. She dismissed it as a formality. Pearl tapped the signature line. She forgot. The hardware store bell rang downstairs. Someone's boots on the wooden floor, smell of coffee drifting up from the break room. If we can prove affair expenses, Pearl continued, she owes you every cent. Hotels, gifts, restaurants, everything. Plus she loses any claim to the homestead. She pulled out her ledger, the one with my name at the top, red ink calculations in the margins. So far I've found $47,000, hotel charges at the Riverside Center, jewelry, cash withdrawals that match Travis's deposit patterns. She made another note. But there's more. Deacon mentioned construction accidents. Travis filed liens against your property. He claims I owe him $35,000 for foundation work I never authorized. Pearl's pencil moved. Addition, carrying numbers. $47,000 in affair expenses, $35,000 in fraudulent liens. Deacon's investigation costs, say $8,000. That's $90,312. And she wrote the number at the bottom of the page, underlined it twice. That's what she owes you. Every penny. I stared at the figure, $90,000, for betrayal. Pearl opened her desk drawer, pulled out something wrapped in felt, set it on the desk between us. A fountain pen. Expensive. The kind you use for important documents. There's something else, she said. The construction accident reports Deacon found, they mentioned GPS tracking on equipment for insurance purposes. Travis's trucks? Yes, but Ray, she leaned forward. When did you install GPS on your surveyor's level? I thought back. 2019. After that theft ring hit the county, insurance company required it. So every time you use that level, it logs location and time? Yes, Pearl smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who just found the error in an audit that proved fraud. Monica claimed she helped maintain the property, told her lawyer she assisted with land surveys, understood your work. That's part of her defense for why she deserves a share. She never... I know. And now we can prove it. Pearl closed the file. GPS doesn't lie. If she never visited the dam sites, never touched that equipment, her entire story collapses. Downstairs, the hardware store door chimed again. 2 customers talking about seed prices, spring planting. How much time do we have? I asked. Pearl pulled out a calendar, marked a date in red, May 15th. That's when the insurance policy comes up for review. Standard annual check. You can change the beneficiary back then. She paused. But if something happens to you before that date, Monica gets $890,000. Exactly. Pearl capped her fountain pen. 14 weeks. We have 14 weeks to build a case. So airtight, she either pays the $90,000 or faces criminal charges. The smell of wood polish, the sound of Pearl's breathing. Outside, January wind rattled the window. Your sister would have figured this out faster, I said. Pearl's face softened, just for a moment. Lillian would have caught it in 6 months. But she's not here. She slid the invoice draft across the desk. I am, and I'm thorough, just slower. Judge Finch was waiting outside the courthouse when I left Pearl's office. He stood by his truck, collar up against the wind, breath visible in the cold. Ray. He glanced around, making sure we were alone. I can't advise you legally. I'm recusing myself from any case involving you and Monica. Conflict of interest. I understand. But as your friend... He pulled out a phone. Old flip phone, not his regular one. Take this. It's a loaner, prepaid. Monica might be tracking your cell. I took it. Plastic, cheap, anonymous. One more thing. His voice dropped. Check your dam. Not next week, today. Why? Because I've been a judge for 30 years, and I know when people are planning something. He climbed into his truck. Check your dam, Ray. Do it now. He drove off, tail lights disappearing around the corner. I stood there holding the loaner phone, cold metal in my hand. The wind picked up. Smell of snow coming. Diesel exhaust from the street. I drove toward the dam. 5 miles out of town. Access road barely maintained. My truck handled the ruts easy enough. The tracks were obvious once you looked. Wide treads, deep impressions, recent construction trucks. I parked and grabbed my flashlight. The river was louder than usual. Snowmelt starting early. Water level rising. The dam foundation was stone and concrete, 40 years old, solid. I'd inspected it every season since I built it. Knew every bolt and seal. The first bolt I checked was loose. Not weather-worn loose. Tool-marked loose. Fresh scratches on the head. Someone had used a wrench, recently. I checked the second bolt. Same. The third. 3 anchor bolts loosened, not removed. That would be too obvious. Just loosened enough that sustained pressure from spring flood might cause failure. I took photos. Timestamp on each one. Then moved to the drainage pipes. Blocked. Concrete poured into the outlet. Professional work. Quickset mix. I knelt there in the mud, 28 degrees, fingers numb, and looked at the evidence. If the dam failed during spring flood, 2 weeks, maybe 3, the water would surge downstream, right past the inspection point where I stood every morning with my coffee, right past where I'd be standing with my surveyor's level, checking grades. Accidental drowning. Tragic. No questions, Monica collects $890,000. Travis gets the property for his development. Clean, simple. I pulled out the loaner phone Judge Finch had given me, called Deacon's number. "It's not fraud," I said when he answered. "It's attempted murder." Monica's Instagram Live started at 10 in the morning. I was in the hardware store buying replacement bolts when someone's phone pinged with the notification. The feed showed her on a yoga mat, ring light positioned for maximum glow, Riverside Wellness Center banner in the background. She wore white, pure, innocent, healing. "My sacred space," she said, voice soft and trembling. "Away from toxicity, away from control. This is where I'm learning to breathe again." The camera panned slightly. Travis walked past in the background, close enough to be visible but not obvious. Intentional, calculated. Comments flooded. "Who's that? New boyfriend? You deserve happiness. Get it, girl." Monica smiled, that same smirk from the VFW. She posted 3 more stories in the next hour. Photos of the workshop, my workshop, zoomed from the road. Caption, "The prison I escaped. Finding freedom, one day at a time." Survivor journey. The hardware store owner looked at me, said nothing, rang up the bolts. By noon, Travis had posted on his contractor Facebook page. Photo of a lien filing document, professional letterhead, official seal, lien filed against Collier property, $35,000 unpaid foundation work. Sad, when people don't pay honest workers, justice will prevail. 63 shares in the first hour. My phone buzzed. The real one, not the loaner, Monica's number. "Travis needs property access by June 1st for river easement. Sell now or we take it in court. Your choice, old man." She was violating her own restraining order, texting me directly, proof of harassment, but she didn't care. She knew the narrative was hers. The scared woman, the abusive old man. I forwarded the text to Deacon, didn't reply to her. In the truck, driving back toward the dam, I thought about how simple it was, how clean. Social media builds the story. Legal documents make it official. Spring flood does the work. Nobody questions tragedy, except they'd gotten sloppy. Left wrench marks, used fresh concrete, left tire tracks. Engineers notice things like that. Dawn came cold and clear. I was at the dam at 5:30, same as always. Frost on the stones. River noise louder, snow melt increasing daily. I knelt at the foundation, flashlight in hand, and inspected each bolt again. Took more photos. Checked the timestamp. Logged everything in my field notebook the way I'd done for 40 years. The drainage blockage was professional work. Whoever poured that concrete knew what they were doing, knew how to make a structural failure look natural. I climbed back up to the access road. My breath hung in the air, the smell of frozen mud and pine, water rushing below. That's when I saw them. Boot prints in the frost. Fresh. Size 13, same as the ones from 2 days ago. Someone had been here this morning. Before me, I followed the prints. They led to where my truck was parked, stopped at the driver's side, then walked away, back toward the tree line. I opened the hood. Spark plugs, all 4, gone. I was 5 miles from town, 28 degrees. No cell service at the dam, the valley blocked signals. The loaner phone Judge Finch gave me was useless out here. Someone knew my routine, knew I came here every morning, knew I'd discover the sabotage and understand what it meant. And they wanted me stranded. I looked at the tree line. Dark pines, shadows, no movement. But they'd been watching. Maybe still were. The walk back took 2 hours. Cold bit through my coat, fingers numb, feet aching. I kept my eyes on the road, counted my steps like counting bolts. Measure twice. Act once, stay alive. By the time I reached the workshop, the sun was up. My truck sat in the driveway where I'd left it yesterday. No, that was wrong. I'd driven to the dam. This was a different vehicle. Cassidy's rental car. She was inside the workshop, sleeping bag on the cot, thermos of soup on the workbench. She looked up when I came in, eyes red. "Dad." She stood fast. "I'm sorry. I should have listened about Monica." I couldn't speak for a moment. Just stood there, frozen fingers, exhausted legs, looking at my daughter in my workshop. For the first time in 18 months. "I tried to call you," she said, "for 6 months. Monica kept saying you didn't want to talk to me, that you needed space." Her voice cracked. "She blocked me on your phone. Deleted my texts. I didn't know until I tried to reach you at the VFW and Hank told me." I pulled her into a hug. First physical contact since Lillian's funeral. She smelled like coffee and rental car air freshener and something else. Her mother's shampoo brand. Same one Lillian used. "I'm sorry," I said. "No, I'm sorry." She pulled back, wiped her eyes. "Monica posted that you were dangerous, that you were..." She stopped. But then I looked at her Instagram history. Really looked. "And Dad, she's been planning this for months. Cassidy opened her laptop. Digital marketing was her job. Social media analysis, metadata tracking, geotags. Look at this post from September. She pulled up the archive. Monica at Riverside Center, yoga pose, Travis's construction office visible through the window. 6 months before the confession. This wasn't sudden, this was calculated. She scrolled through more. October, November, December. Every post carefully staged, building a narrative. The devoted wife, the struggling marriage, the brave survivor. And here, Cassidy pulled up location data. She's tagged Riverside Center 47 times in 6 months, always during business hours. Always when Travis's truck is in the lot. I cross-referenced his company Facebook. The wood stove ticked. Soup smell from the thermos. Outside, wind rattled the barn siding. You can track all this? I asked. It's metadata, public information if you know where to look. She pulled up a spreadsheet. Instagram embeds GPS coordinates in every photo, timestamps, device information. Monica's been documenting her own affair. I sat down on the workbench stool, looked at the screen. 47 visits, dates and times, proof. Can you print this? Already did. She pulled a folder from her bag. Every post, every location, every timestamp, cross-referenced with Travis's construction schedule and the accident reports Deacon mentioned. And she'd been thorough, like her mother, same careful attention to detail. Monica thinks she's controlling the narrative, Cassidy said. But she forgot that everything digital leaves a trail. I thought about Pearl's prenuptial clause, Deacon's insurance investigation, the GPS on my surveyor's level, and now this, Monica's own posts proving 6 months of premeditation. We need to meet with Pearl and Deacon, I said. All of us, tonight. Cassidy nodded. Then she looked at me, really looked. Dad, you're freezing. What happened? I told her about the spark plugs, the boot prints, the 5-mile walk. Her face went pale. They're trying to kill you. Yes. We need to call the police. We need to build a case they can't ignore. I picked up my field notebook. Evidence, documentation, everything measured and logged. That's how we win this. Cassidy's hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. Mom would have been proud of you. She'd have figured it out faster. But you figured it out. She closed her laptop. That's what matters. Pearl's kitchen table was crowded. Me, Cassidy, Deacon, Pearl with her ledgers and fountain pen, the smell of coffee and oatmeal cookies. Downstairs, the hardware store was closed for the evening, quiet except for the wall clock ticking. Pearl spread the documents. Prenuptial agreement, bank statements with red circles, insurance policy with the shaky signature. Deacon added a stack. Accident reports, GPS logs from Travis's construction trucks, photos of the loosened dam bolts. Cassidy set down her laptop, pulled up the metadata analysis. 47 documented visits to Travis's office, she said, starting last June. Every visit during business hours. Every post geotagged. Instagram automatically embeds coordinates. She clicked through the timeline. Monica's smiling face, yoga poses, inspirational quotes. Underneath, the data told a different story. Pearl made notes in her ledger. Mechanical pencil scratching. Hotel charges matched these dates, she said. September 15th, Instagram post at Riverside Center at 2 p.m. Hotel charge at midnight, $470. Deacon tapped one of his reports. September 15th, construction accident near Collier property, loose scaffolding, reported at 3 a.m. The pattern was there. Complete. Undeniable. Pearl did the math, added the columns, carried the numbers. $47,000 in affair expenses, $35,000 in fraudulent liens, $8,000 in investigation costs. She wrote the final number. $90,312. She slid the invoice draft across the table, itemized. Every charge listed with date, amount, proof. Prenuptial Clause 7 states infidelity voids all spousal claims and triggers full reimbursement. Pearl looked at me. This is what she owes you, every penny. Deacon pulled out his phone, showed us a text from his office. Travis's foreman, Kyle Duncan, we picked him up this morning. GPS from his personal truck puts him at your dam site. 3 a.m. visits on the dates the bolts were loosened. Will he talk? I asked. His lawyer's already negotiating immunity. Deacon's smile was grim. Kyle's 22 years old, facing attempted murder charges. He'll flip. Cassidy opened another file on her laptop. There's more. I found Monica's iPad synced to iCloud. She forgot to turn off device sharing. She pulled up messages, text thread between Monica and Travis. Months of planning. Spring flood is in 2 weeks. If the dam fails, accident looks natural. Ray inspects every morning. He'll be downstream. You promised Kyle $15,000? Where is it? The kitchen was silent except for breathing. The wall clock. Someone's stomach growling. Pearl capped her fountain pen. May 15th is the insurance policy review date. If Ray dies before then, Monica gets $890,000. If he survives past that date, he can change the beneficiary back. She circled the date on her calendar. Red ink. 14 weeks became 12. Now it's 10. Pearl looked at each of us. We have until May 15th to force a settlement or file criminal charges. I thought about the dam, the spring flood building, the boot prints in the frost. They're running out of time too, I said. Travis's development loan, when's it due? Deacon checked his notes. June 1st. He needs your property for river access. It's the only easement point for his project. No access, no development. No development, the loan gets called. So they're desperate, Cassidy said. Desperate people make mistakes, Pearl said. They already have. Fresh concrete in the drainage, wrench marks on the bolts, GPS tracking everywhere. She tapped the invoice. This is enough for a settlement demand. Pay or face criminal charges. I looked at the number. $90,312. When do we serve it? I asked. Soon. Pearl pulled out a manila envelope, legal size. But first, we need one more thing. She looked at Deacon. Kyle's testimony, he said, on record, sworn statement. If he admits Travis ordered the sabotage, if he gives us the conspiracy. Deacon paused. That's when we have her. Murder for hire, insurance fraud, attempted murder. She either pays the $90,000 and walks away, or she goes to prison for 20 years. The cookies smelled like butter and sugar. The coffee was getting cold. Outside, March wind rattled the windows. Not quite spring, not quite winter, mud season coming. I picked up my surveyor's level from where I'd set it on the counter. Lillian's initials on the base. 40 years of measurements. 40 years of precision. This dam, I said quietly. This house. Lillian's dream. I built it for her, stone by stone. Cassidy put her hand on my shoulder. Monica's not taking it, I said. We build the case like I built those stone walls, one piece at a time, measured, precise, until it's unbreakable. Pearl slid the invoice into the manila envelope, sealed it. One piece at a time, she agreed. And Ray, we're thorough, just like Lillian would have been. The wall clock chimed 7. Downstairs the hardware store was dark. Deacon's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, smiled. Kyle's lawyer just called. He'll testify. Full immunity deal. He gives us Travis. He walks on the sabotage charges. He stood. I'll take his statement tomorrow morning. By tomorrow night, we'll have everything we need. The Grantsville Gazette came out on Thursday morning. Front page, below the fold, escaping financial control. One woman's story, Monica's photo, professional headshot, soft lighting. The article quoted her extensively. Painted me as controlling, paranoid, financially abusive. Mentioned the restraining order, referenced an anonymous complaint filed with Adult Protective Services. Mr. Collier isolated his wife, controlled all finances, and became increasingly erratic and threatening. And the reporter wrote, Ms. Collier fears for her safety but is bravely reclaiming her independence. The VFW hall split deeper that afternoon. The younger wives, Monica's yoga students, book club members, organized a support circle at the Riverside Center, posted about it on Facebook. 43 RSVPs. The older veterans stopped coming to Friday fish fries, said the tension was too much. Hank called me that evening. Half the hall thinks you're dangerous, he said. The other half knows better. But Ray, it's ugly. People are choosing sides. Even the hardware store owner pulled me aside when I came in for supplies. Ray, I know you're good for it, but maybe shop during off hours. Tensions are high, bad for business. I nodded, paid cash, left. The certified letter arrived Friday afternoon. Adult Protective Services. Official seal. Investigation opened based on anonymous complaint. Mr. Raymond Collier, age 68, exhibits signs of mental instability and poses potential danger to self and others. Their interview scheduled April 5th, mandatory. If the investigation found merit, they could petition for conservatorship, someone else managing my affairs, controlling my property. Monica's fingerprints were all over it. Anonymous complaint, strategic timing. One more legal hammer? I sat in the workshop that night, wood stove burning, and thought about how thoroughly she'd built the trap. Social media narrative, legal documentation, community pressure, every angle covered, except one. She'd forgotten about the numbers, about receipts and GPS logs and metadata. She'd forgotten engineers measure everything. The interrogation room at the county sheriff's office smelled like industrial cleaner and bad coffee. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Metal table bolted to the floor. Kyle Duncan sat across from Deacon, 22 years old, scared. His lawyer, public defender, overworked, looked tired, had negotiated the immunity deal. Kyle talks, he walks. Simple. Deacon set a recorder on the table, pressed record. State your name for the record. Kyle Robert Duncan. You work for Travis Hartwell Construction? Yes, sir. Foreman. 3 years. Deacon pulled out GPS printouts, highlighted dates, 3 a.m. timestamps. Can you explain why your truck was at the Collier Dam site on these dates? Kyle looked at his lawyer. The lawyer nodded. Travis told me to go there, said there was a problem with the foundation, asked me to loosen some anchor bolts. Loosen them how much? Not all the way. Just enough to... Kyle stopped, swallowed. Just enough to cause failure if water pressure increased. Did he tell you why? He said the old man, Mr. Collier, was being difficult about property access. Said if there was an accident, a structural failure during spring flood, it would look natural. Kyle's voice dropped. Said Mr. Collier inspects the dam every morning. Stands downstream with his surveying equipment. If the dam failed while he was there, he'd drown. Yes, sir. Deacon made notes. The recorder hummed. Did Travis pay you for this work? Promised me $15,000. Never paid it. Kyle's jaw tightened. He kept saying after the flood or after the property transfers. I got tired of waiting. Started thinking maybe he was setting me up to take the fall. Smart thinking. Deacon pulled out another document. Did Travis mention Monica Collier, Ray's wife? All the time. She was at the construction office constantly. They'd meet in his office. Door closed, laughing. Kyle paused. Travis said she changed an insurance policy, made herself the beneficiary. Said when the old man died, they'd split almost $1 million. Then they'd sell the property for another $500,000. He told you this directly? Multiple times. Bragged about it, said it was the perfect setup, natural accident, big payout, no questions. The lawyer shifted in his seat, uncomfortable. Deacon leaned forward. Did Monica know about the dam sabotage? Kyle nodded. Travis showed me texts from her. She was scared, wanted to back out. But Travis told her she was in too deep. Said if she backed out, he'd tell the cops about credit card fraud she'd been running. And so Travis was threatening her? Yeah, she wanted out. He wouldn't let her. Deacon stopped the recorder. Looked at me through the one-way glass where I was watching with Pearl and Cassidy. Came out into the hallway. His face was grim but satisfied. We've got him, he said. Conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, attempted murder for financial gain. Kyle's testimony puts both of them at the scene, planning, executing. Pearl opened her briefcase, pulled out the manila envelope with the invoice. $90,312, she said. Prenuptial clause attached. Kyle's sworn statement attached. GPS logs attached. iPad messages attached. Dam sabotage photos attached. She handed it to Deacon. We serve this Monday morning. She has 72 hours to pay or we file criminal charges. Cassidy pulled out her phone, showed us Monica's latest Instagram post from an hour ago. Learning to trust again. Finding strength in vulnerability. Some battles are won by walking away. Healing journey? Survivor strong. 312 likes. She thinks she's winning, Cassidy said. Let her think that. Deacon took the envelope. Monday morning, 10 a.m., Riverside Wellness Center. I'll record everything. You serve the papers. We end this. Pearl made a note in her ledger. April 2nd. Settlement demand served. She can't pay $90,000, Pearl said. Her wellness center barely breaks even. She's been living on your credit cards, Ray. She has no assets. Then she faces criminal charges, Deacon said. Or she settles, Pearl continued. Payment plan. 5 years. Garnished wages. Vacate property immediately. Drop all legal actions. Public admission of prenuptial violation. Non-disparagement clause. She'd already drafted the settlement terms. 3 pages, single-spaced, lawyer reviewed. Either way, Pearl said, she loses. Either she pays you back over 5 years and walks away broke, or she goes to prison for 20. I looked at the manila envelope. Thick, heavy, evidence of betrayal measured and documented. And Travis? I asked. Deacon smiled. It wasn't pleasant. His bank pulled his development loan this morning. My sabotage report triggered a risk assessment. $2 million due immediately. He can't pay. His company files bankruptcy next week. Monica won't have him to run to, Cassidy said. She'll have nobody. Deacon put the envelope in his briefcase. Monday morning, be ready. Saturday morning, I went to the dam at dawn, alone. Cassidy wanted to come, but I told her no. Some things you do yourself? The river was louder, spring melt accelerating, water level rising daily. 2 weeks, maybe less, until flood conditions. I knelt at the foundation, inspected each bolt. The loosened ones were obvious now that I knew what to look for. I pulled new bolts from my toolbox, stainless steel, corrosion resistant, had them engraved yesterday at the machine shop in town. LC Lillian's initials. Same as on the surveyor's level. I replaced each sabotage bolt, tightened them to specification, checked the torque twice, then cleared the drainage blockage. Sledgehammer, chisel, 3 hours of work, Concrete chips flying, hands bleeding, but the pipe was clear, water flowing again. By noon, the foundation was secure, the dam would hold. I sat on the access road, eating a sandwich Cassidy had packed, and looked at the water. 40 years I'd maintained this structure, 40 years of daily inspections, seasonal repairs, careful measurement. Monica and Travis thought they could undo it with a wrench and some quick-set concrete. They'd forgotten that good engineering survives amateur sabotage. I packed my tools, drove back to town, stopped at Pearl's office. She was at her desk, windows open despite the cold. Fresh air, spring coming. The dam's secure, I said. She made a note. Good. Monday we serve the papers. Wednesday, Kyle's testimony goes to the prosecutor. By Friday, Monica either accepts the settlement or gets arrested. And if she runs? She won't. Where would she go? Her wellness center is leased through May. Her car is financed. She has no money, no job prospects, no family who'll take her in. Pearl looked up. She's trapped, just like she trapped you, except your trap has receipts. Sunday, I went to Lillian's grave. First time in 6 months. Monica had always found reasons for me not to go. Too cold, too muddy, too depressing. The daffodils I'd planted last fall were blooming, yellow against the gray stone. Someone had left fresh flowers. Recent. I recognized Pearl's handwriting on the card. We're handling it, just like you would have. Love, Pearl. I sat on the bench. Told Lillian about the invoice, the evidence, the settlement. Told her Cassidy was back. Told her the dam was secure. The wind carried the smell of thawing earth, birds calling. Spring pushing through. She almost got away with it, I said. But she forgot you taught me to measure twice. The workshop was cold that night. Wood stove down to embers. I was at the workbench, cleaning tools, when Cassidy came in from the house. She sat on the cot. Didn't say anything for a while. Just watched me work. Why did you remarry so fast? She finally asked. I set down the wrench, looked at her. 6 years felt fast to you? Mom died. And then suddenly Monica was here. In Mom's house. Sleeping in Mom's bed. Her voice cracked. It felt like you replaced her. I sat down on the stool. The wood stove ticked, wind outside. The silence was worse than the grief, I said. Your mother's voice was everywhere. The kitchen, the bedroom, out at the dam. Everywhere I looked, I heard her. And then I'd remember she wasn't coming back. Cassidy wiped her eyes. I couldn't stand waking up to nobody, I continued. The house was too quiet, too empty. I stopped. I thought having someone there would make it easier. Did it? No. It made it worse. I looked at my hands. 40 years of calluses, scarred knuckles. Monica wasn't easier. She was just louder, and loud isn't the same as present, Cassidy cried. Real crying, the kind you hold back for months, until you can't anymore. I thought you didn't miss her, she said. I thought Monica was, I don't know, what you wanted instead. Nobody replaces your mother. I just couldn't stand the silence. We sat there for a long time. The stove cooling, March wind rattling the barn siding. Mom would have seen through Monica in 5 minutes, Cassidy said. She would have figured this out 6 months faster. I stood up. But she's not here, so I'm doing it slow, thorough. Cassidy wiped her face, pulled out her laptop. Dad, I need to show you something. Monica's iPad, the iCloud backup. She opened a file, text messages, months of them. December 12th, spring flood is in 2 weeks. If the dam fails, accident looks natural. Insurance pays out fast. December 28th, Ray inspects every morning. He'll be downstream. Water does the work. January 15th, you promised Kyle $15K. Where is it? February 3rd, I'm scared. What if we get caught? Travis's reply, you signed the insurance change. You're in this. If you back out, I tell cops about the credit card fraud. February 20th, Ray suspects something. He's been asking about bank statements. Travis, doesn't matter. May 15th is policy review. He changes beneficiary back. We lose $890K. It has to happen before then. March 1st. I can't do this. Travis, too late. You're already guilty. Either we finish this or we both go to prison. The messages kept going, Monica getting more desperate, Travis getting more threatening. A conspiracy documented in real time. Cassidy scrolled to the last message. March 28th, 2 days ago. Monica, I want out. I'll give back everything. Just let me walk away. Travis, you walk away. I show the cops every receipt, every text, every lie. You're not walking anywhere. The workshop was silent except for breathing, the wind, the computer fan humming. She's trapped too, Cassidy said quietly. Doesn't make her innocent. No. But Dad, Cassidy looked at me. She tried to back out. Travis wouldn't let her. I thought about that. Monica's Instagram posts, the fake tears, the victim narrative. Maybe some of it was real. Maybe she'd gotten in over her head and couldn't find the surface. Didn't matter. She'd still signed the insurance papers, still spent $47,000 of my money on her affair, still stood by while Travis loosened those damn bolts. She made choices, I said. Bad ones. Now she pays for them. Cassidy closed the laptop. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Tomorrow morning, I agreed. Pearl arrived an hour later. Knocked once, came in. She had the manila envelope. Final version, sealed. Invoice, prenuptial clause, Kyle's testimony, GPS logs, iPad messages, damn sabotage photos, everything. She set it on the workbench. Deacon will be there to record. I'll be there as witness. You serve the papers. She pulled out a second document. Settlement terms. If she agrees, she pays $90,000 over 5 years, vacates the property by April 15th, drops the restraining order, the elder abuse complaint, all legal actions, signs a non-disparagement agreement, never contacts you again, and if she refuses, Deacon files criminal charges, conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, attempted murder for financial gain. She goes to prison for 20 years. Pearl handed me the envelope. Heavy. Official. Your call, Ray, but make it clean. No anger, no drama, just business. Serve the papers. State the terms. Walk away. I held the envelope. Thought about Lillian. About building the dam, stone by stone. About 40 years of daily measurements. Tomorrow, I said. We finish this. The Riverside Wellness Center smelled like incense and fake serenity. Sandalwood, lavender. Ring lights set up in the corners. Yoga mats arranged in perfect rows. Monica's 10 a.m. class was ending when we arrived. Me, Deacon, with his recording equipment, Pearl with her briefcase. We waited in the parking lot until the students filed out. Young women in expensive athletic wear, talking about brunch plans. Monica stood in the doorway, white yoga outfit, hair perfect. She saw us, and her smile faltered, just for a second. Travis appeared from the office and back. Saw us through the window, didn't come out. I walked across the parking lot. Deacon followed. Camera recording. Pearl stayed by the car, witness position. Monica stepped onto her mat. Defensive posture, claiming territory. I set the manila envelope on the mat, right in front of her. The sound echoed in the empty studio. You wanted Travis back? I said. You can have him. But your affair cost me $90,312. Here's the invoice. She didn't touch it. Prenuptial clause 7, I continued. Infidelity voids all spousal claims and triggers full reimbursement of marital expenditures. Every hotel charge, every piece of jewelry, every fake lien Travis filed. All of it itemized. All of it documented. Monica's face drained of color. Her hands shook. You have 72 hours, I said. Pay it, or we file criminal charges for insurance fraud and attempted murder. Travis pushed through the office door. You can't prove. Deacon pulled out his phone. Played audio from Kyle's testimony. Kyle's voice, clear and certain. Travis told me to loosen the anchor bolts. Said if the dam failed, while the old man was downstream, it would look like an accident. Said they'd split the insurance money. Travis stopped walking. Deacon pulled out more documents, spread them on the reception desk like evidence at trial. GPS logs from your construction trucks, 3 a.m. visits to Collier's Dam, dates match the sabotage. He added another page. Kyle's sworn statement. He gives you up for immunity, conspiracy to commit murder. He pulled out his own phone, played audio of Monica's voice from the iPad backup. Spring flood is in 2 weeks. If the dam fails, accident looks natural. Monica's voice. Her words, recorded, undeniable. Cassidy stepped in from the doorway, set her laptop on the desk, pulled up Instagram metadata. 47 documented visits to Travis's office, she said. Every post geotagged. Every hotel charge matched to location data. You documented your own affair, Monica. 6 months of evidence. Time-stamped, GPS verified. She pulled up the bank statements Pearl had marked. Red circles everywhere. $4,000 for Tiffany earrings. $47,000 in hotel charges, cash withdrawals, restaurant bills, $35,000 in fake liens, work that was never performed. Kyle testified Travis never did foundation repairs. He just filed the paperwork. Pearl stepped into the studio, set her briefcase on the floor, opened it, pulled out the itemized invoice. $90,312, she said. Her voice was level, professional. Every charge documented, every receipt attached. GPS tracking confirms locations. Prenuptial agreement confirms you owe full reimbursement. Monica's hands shook as she picked up the envelope, opened it, page after page of evidence. Her face went from white to gray. I can't, she whispered. I don't have $90,000. Then we file charges, Deacon said. Insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder for financial gain. You and Travis both. 20 years minimum. Travis backed toward the door. She's lying. Monica, don't say anything. We need a lawyer. Your lawyer can't help you, Deacon said. Your bank pulled your development loan this morning. My sabotage report triggered the review. $2 million due immediately. You can't pay. Your company's filing bankruptcy next week. Travis's face went slack. What? You're done, Deacon said. Company gone. Loan called. No assets. And in 3 days, criminal charges for attempted murder. He paused. Kyle already flipped. Gave us everything. You're going to prison, Travis. Question is whether Monica goes with you. Monica looked at Travis, then at the invoice, then at me. You said you'd protect me, she said to Travis, her voice breaking. You said it was foolproof. Shut up. You said nobody would know. You said the dam would fail and it would look natural and... She was crying now, real tears, not Instagram tears. You said I'd be safe. Monica, stop talking. I tried to back out. She turned to me. February. I told him I wanted to stop, but he said I was already guilty. Said if I backed out, he'd tell the police about the credit cards, the insurance fraud, everything. He trapped me. Travis moved toward the door. Deacon blocked him. You're not leaving, Deacon said. State police are outside. Arrest warrants ready to go. You run. They take you down. Pearl pulled out a second document. Settlement agreement, 3 pages. Monica, you have one option, she said. Sign this. Pay $90,000 over 5 years. Garnished wages from your wellness center. Vacate the homestead by April 15th. Drop the restraining order, the elder abuse complaint, all legal actions. Sign a non-disparagement agreement. Never contact Ray again. She said it on the mat next to the invoice. You sign this today. We don't file criminal charges. You walk away, broke, but free. Pearl's voice was firm. You refuse. Deacon arrests you Monday morning. You spend the next 20 years in prison. Your choice. Monica stared at the papers, her hands trembling, mascara running. I really did love you, she whispered to me. At first? No, I said. You loved the house, the security. You never loved me. She picked up the pen Pearl offered, hands shaking so badly she could barely grip it. Sign page 3, Pearl said. Admission of prenuptial violation. Agreement to repayment terms. Vacation of property. Monica signed. The pen scratched, her signature shaky but legal. Pearl witnessed it, dated it, put it in her briefcase. You have until April 15th to clear out, she said. Any property you leave behind becomes Ray's. Any violation of the non-disparagement clause triggers the criminal charges. Understand? Monica nodded. Couldn't speak. Deacon turned to Travis. You don't get a deal. Kyle's testimony, GPS logs, iPad messages. We've got you cold. Expect charges Monday morning. Have your lawyer ready. He took a photo of Travis. Official evidence. Travis standing in his office. Face pale. Trapped. We walked out. The spring air smelled like rain coming. Clouds building west. The parking lot was empty except for our vehicles. I stood there for a moment, holding the signed settlement, the envelope with the invoice, $47,000 in affair expenses, $35,000 in fake liens, $8,000 in investigation costs, $90,312 for betrayal, for attempted murder, for 6 months of planning to kill me and take everything Lillian and I had built. Is it enough? Cassidy asked quietly. I thought about that, about Lillian, about the homestead. About 40 years of daily measurements. It's justice, I said. Not revenge, justice. Pearl put the settlement in her briefcase. She'll make the first payment May 1st. $300 a month for 5 years. Garnished wages. She misses one payment. We file charges. And Travis? Bankruptcy next week. Criminal charges Monday. His construction company's done. He'll be in prison by summer. Deacon closed his camera case. Monica's wellness center lease ends May 31st. She won't be able to afford renewal. 3 months, she'll be gone. Out of town. Out of your life. We drove back in silence. The clouds opened. Spring rain on the windshield. Cold but not freezing. March turning to April. At the workshop, I sat on the porch and watched the rain. Cassidy brought coffee. We didn't talk. The settlement papers sat on the workbench inside. Signed. Official. Legal. Monica would pack her things. Leave by April 15th. Walk away with nothing but debt and shame. Travis would lose everything. Company. Property, freedom, and I would stay, keep the homestead, restore the dam, teach Cassidy to maintain it. The rain fell steady, the smell of wet earth, spring pushing through, some battles you win with noise. This one I won with receipts, a camera, and my mother-in-law's ledger. The insurance office was downtown, same building where I'd first taken out the policy 30 years ago. Same receptionist, same coffee maker in the corner, burnt smell mixing with paper and toner, May 15th. The date Pearl had circled in red. The agent pulled up my file on her computer, clicked through screens. Policy review date, she said. Annual check. You want to make any changes to beneficiaries? Yes. I slid the form across her desk. Change it back to my daughter, Cassidy Collier, the agent typed. Printed a new form. I signed where she indicated. Good timing, Mr. Collier, she said. Another day, and the review would have locked it for another year. I know. She processed the paperwork, stamped it, filed it. All set, your daughter is now the primary beneficiary. $890,000. I stood to leave. The agent called after me. Mr. Collier, I saw the news about your wife. The fraud charges. I'm sorry. Don't be, I said. Justice worked out fine. Outside, Cassidy was waiting by the truck. I handed her the paperwork. You're the beneficiary again, I said. The way it should have been. She looked at the form, her name in the primary slot. Her hands tightened on the paper. Thank you, she whispered. We drove to the courthouse. Deacon met us on the steps. Monica pleaded guilty this morning, he said. Financial fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. Judge gave her 18 months supervised probation and restitution of $90,312. She avoids prison if she makes every payment. And Travis? Trial's set for July, but his lawyer's already negotiating a plea. Kyle's testimony is too strong. He's looking at 8 to 12 years. Deacon paused. His construction company officially dissolved yesterday. Assets sold at auction. Wade Gibson bought some of the equipment. Paid pennies on the dollar. Justice. Slow but thorough. Monica left town last week, Deacon continued. Forwarded no address. Someone saw her at a bus station in Columbus. That was the last anyone heard. Cassidy looked at me. She's really gone? Really gone, Deacon confirmed. VFW rescinded the restraining order. Adult Protective Services closed the investigation. Found no merit. Your reputation is restored, Ray. The courthouse steps were warm in the May sun. Spring fully arrived now, trees budding, birds everywhere. Thank you, I said to Deacon, for everything. You taught me to measure twice, act once. He shook my hand. I just applied it. The dam foundation was solid when we inspected it. 2 days later, me and Cassidy, Dawn, coffee and thermoses. The spring flood had passed. Heavy, but the structure held. Water flowing clean through the drainage pipes. No stress, no cracks. I knelt at the anchor bolts. The new ones, stainless steel, engraved with Lillian's initials. LC. Check the grade, I said to Cassidy. She set up the surveyor's level, the backup one I'd given her. Adjusted the bubble, sighted through the lens. Dead level, she said. Perfect. Now check the flow rate. She moved to the drainage outlet, measured the water volume, calculated the pressure, wrote it in the field notebook, the one I'd kept for 40 years, her handwriting next to mine. Within normal range, she reported. Foundation is stable. I stood, looked at the dam. 40 years of maintenance. Daily inspections, careful measurement. It had survived Monica's sabotage, Travis's desperation. Spring flood and winter freeze. Good engineering survives amateur destruction. We walked the trail back to the access road. Wildflowers blooming, purple crocus, early daisies, the smell of thawing earth and pine, bird calls in the trees, morning light soft through the branches. Mom built this place, Cassidy said. Didn't she? I mean, you laid the stones, but it was her dream. Every stone I placed for her. I stopped walking, looked back at the dam. She drew the plans, calculated the loads, chose the location. I just followed her engineering. When she was good at it, better than me, smarter, faster, more precise. I smiled. She would have caught Monica's fraud in 3 months instead of 6, would have seen the insurance change immediately. But you caught it, Cassidy said. Eventually. That counts. We reached the truck. I pulled out the surveyor's level, the original, the one with Lillian's initials on the base. I want you to have this, I said. Cassidy took it carefully, ran her fingers over the engraving. LC. Dad, this is your inheritance. The dam, the homestead, the tools, all of it. I looked at her. Your mother built it. I maintained it. Now you keep it standing, she cried, held the level against her chest. I don't know if I can. You already know how. You checked the grade this morning. Perfect bubble. Perfect sightline. I put my hand on her shoulder. You're your mother's daughter. The precision's already there. We drove back to the homestead. The house was empty. Monica's things cleared out weeks ago. The silence was different now. Not lonely, just quiet. Cassidy set up her laptop in the kitchen. The same kitchen where Lillian used to plan her engineering projects. Same oak table. Same morning light. I talked to my firm, Cassidy said. They'll let me work remotely. I can stay here. Keep the place maintained. You sure? Mom built it, you protected it, I want to preserve it. She opened her laptop. Besides, architecture and engineering aren't so different. Both about building things that last, both about understanding the foundation. I made coffee. The smell filled the kitchen. Outside, the fields stretched green. The garden plot Lillian had planted 40 years ago was showing shoots. Cassidy had replanted it last month. Tomatoes, beans, squash. The land remembers who loved it. That afternoon, I went to Lillian's grave. The daffodils were fading now, replaced by summer flowers. Someone had left fresh roses. Pearl's handwriting on the card. She's home, safe. Thank you for the lessons. Love, P. I sat on the bench. Told Lillian about the settlement, about Cassidy moving back, about the dam holding through the flood. Monica almost got away with it, I said. But she forgot. You taught me to keep records. Every measurement, every inspection, 40 years of documentation. The wind carried the smell of cut grass from somewhere, warm, gentle. Cassidy has your level now, I continued. She'll maintain the dam, keep the homestead. Continue your work? A cardinal landed on the gravestone, red against gray, sang 3 notes, flew away. I stood to leave, touched the stone, cold despite the sun. The land remembers, I said, and now so does she. 3 weeks later, I sat on the porch at dawn with my coffee. The rain gauge showed 2 inches from last night's storm. Good for the seedlings. I opened the field notebook, wrote the date, the weather, the first growth report from the Northeast Garden section, continuing Lillian's records, keeping the precision. The workshop behind me smelled like diesel and wood smoke. Cassidy's voice drifted from the barn. She was on a video call with a client. Her temporary office set up in the old tack room. She'd extended her remote work arrangement. Said the quiet helped her think. Said maybe she'd stay permanently, turn the workshop into a proper studio. We'd see. The VFW called last week. Asked if I'd come back to Friday fish fries. Said people missed me. Said they were sorry for doubting. I told them I'd think about it. Travis's trial started Monday. Deacon said it would be quick. Kyle's testimony, the GPS logs, the iPad messages, open and shut. 8 to 12 years, just like Deacon predicted. Monica's first payment arrived May 1st. $300, garnished wages. The check had a Columbus postmark, no return address. Pearl deposited it without comment. Only 359 more payments to go. The sun cleared the tree line, warming the porch boards. The fields stretched green toward the horizon. Grandfather's surveyor's level sat on the table beside me. The original, the one I'd given Cassidy. She'd given it back this morning, said she wanted me to keep it, said she'd use the backup, said the original belonged here, on this porch, with me. Brass catching the morning light. Lillian's initials, engraved on the base, LC, some battles you win with noise and fury. This one I won with receipts, GPS logs, and 40 years of daily measurements. But the real victory wasn't in the winning, it was in the staying. In the morning coffee, and the rain gauge, and the field notebook that would outlast us all. In teaching Cassidy to check the grade, to measure twice, to trust the foundation. The land remembers who loved it and who tried to sell it. And now, so would we. The fireflies came out at dusk. First ones of the season, blinking near the tree line where the field met the woods. I watched them from the porch, coffee gone cold in my cup. Wood stove smoke drifting from the workshop chimney. Cassidy called from the kitchen window. Dad, dinner's ready. I stood, looked toward the dam in the distance. The spring flood was long past. Summer water flowing steady and clean, the foundation I'd repaired in March holding strong. The bolts with Lillian's initials keeping everything secure. 40 years I'd measured water pressure. Stress loads, foundation integrity. Turns out people crack the same way. Pressure finds the weakness, exploits it. Monica's weakness was greed. Travis's was debt, mine was loneliness. But cracks don't mean collapse, not if you catch them early. Measure twice. Act once. Repair what you can. The garden plot showed green in the fading light. Tomatoes climbing their stakes, beans flowering, squash spreading wide. Lillian had planted this garden 40 years ago. Cassidy had replanted it this spring. 3 generations of women loving the same soil. I walked inside. The kitchen smelled like pot roast and fresh bread. Cassidy had set 2 places at the oak table, the same table where Lillian used to spread her engineering plans, where Pearl had built the invoice that saved everything, where I'd signed the settlement papers that ended it. Judge Finch called, Cassidy said, setting down plates. He wants to go fishing Saturday. Says you owe him for the loaner phone. I'll call him back. We ate in comfortable silence. The kind that comes from knowing you don't need to fill every moment with words. Outside, the evening birds started their songs. Crickets joining in. The sound of summer arriving. After dinner, we walked the property line. Me, Cassidy, and the surveyor's level she'd brought. She wanted to check the northwest corner markers. Make sure the boundaries were still clear after the spring thaw. She set up the instrument, adjusted the bubble, sighted through the lens. Her movements were precise, confident. Lillian's precision living on in her daughter's hands. Dead on, she said. Markers are exactly where they should be. We walked back as the light faded. Fireflies everywhere now. The smell of honeysuckle from the fence line, warm earth, growing things. Lillian used to say stone remembers. I didn't understand then. But now, every bolt I tightened, every grate I checked, her hands were in mine. The house remembered her. The dam remembered her. So did Cassidy. So did I. Spring always came. You just had to clear the dead wood first. Trust the foundation you'd built. Measure the cracks before they spread. Monica was gone. Travis was in prison. The homestead was secure. And Cassidy was home, learning the measurements, keeping the records, continuing the work. The land remembers who loved it. And the people who stay, who measure and maintain and build things that last, they remember too. That's the victory, not the winning, the staying.